it feels like it's kind of like robbery. It's like we're already paying to use the site. I'm already paying for a store subscription. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Bama Jaybird Resale. I'm Josh. Great to have you with me again today. And today, a really simple video. I don't do a whole lot of just only what sold, but this is really going to be a look at kind of what is selling so far in 2025. And so it's kind of media heavy, but we're going to take a look at some of these items. It's a pretty good list. There's a few topics I'll touch on here and there, some tips and pointers. Hopefully you get something out of it beneficial. And as always, if you are not subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate you subscribing. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up while you're watching and drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think. If you got any questions, comments, or anything to add to what I say, please feel free to let me know. All right, guys, so let's just jump on in and take a look at what has sold. I have 15 items going out for a total of $541.63. The first item is one of the sealed great courses. This one is Introduction to Judaism, parts 1 and 2. It is the 2 DVDs and the book, still sealed. And this sold for only $5 plus shipping. Not a lot on that one, but I bought these in a big lot. I think I had like 35 or 40 of them that were sealed. And some of them have brought really good money. So some of them not as much. I lotted a good many together. This was actually like a $10 item listed, but I got an offer for $5, and I'm just looking to move them quickly. I've already made back my money plus a good bit of profit on them. So anyway, took that offer and sent that out. Next item going out is the McCartney years. The McCartney years, this is Paul McCartney live concerts box set. This is out of print. If you find anything out of print, media-wise, it's generally pretty good. You open this up and it folds out. It's pretty cool. Got a ton of songs on it, ton of music. And again, the little booklet. It's a 3-disc set. Like I said, ton of music on this. And this sold for $9.87 plus shipping. So decent sale there. This is part of that big DVD buy that I had. I bought a ton of DVDs for like $100. All right, next I have these Duluth heavy duty suspenders, Duluth Trading Company. So not all Duluth items are great. Those weren't a huge score or anything, but I got $12 plus shipping, and I think I had like $2 in those, or $2.99. I bought them at a thrift store. The DVDs, I didn't calculate exactly what I have in them, but it's less than $1. I probably have like, 50 to 75 cents each in the DVDs, just so you know. All right, so moving on down, another Beatles, a lot of Beatles in this media buy. This is Magical Mystery Tour. And this one is also sealed. It's new. I sold this for $15.15 plus shipping. It was a promoted listing, I think. No, that one wasn't. Sorry. The next one up was promoted. This is the Beatles Yellow Submarine. This is sealed again with special features. This is that original animated movie. And so anyway, this sold for $18.97 on a promoted listing. I think I'm promoting those at like 2 or 3% is all. When I first created the listings, that's what I started them at. And so I'm gonna see how they do. And I probably won't promote them any more than that for a while, because usually this stuff sells pretty good for me without promotions. In fact, I'm not necessarily a huge proponent of promoting, at least not right off the bat. I'm not sure why I chose to do that on these, but I did. I think I just got in the habit because of going back through old inventory recently and revamping listings and tacking on some pretty good promotions on items that haven't moved. I just kind of got in that swing of adding promotions, and I probably should have held off on some of this stuff because it's really a specialized market and a limited quantity available on some of these items. So I probably should have given it a chance without it, but I'm not losing a lot at a 3% promotion, so that's okay. Next item up, this is a set of CDs from my original buy. I'll show you real quick. So that's Peter Frampton Gold. We have Humble Pie, the extended versions, and then Peter Frampton Icon. So those three sold for $24.99 plus shipping. Of course, on media mail, you have to make sure that you do a good job of knowing your weights and your measurements, your weights especially, because on media mail you will find that oftentimes because the buyer pays exactly what it's going to cost you to ship it. If you mess up by the wrong, by an ounce or so, like say you got a lot that you do and you got it priced at, say 1 pound rate, and it winds up being 1 pound and 1 ounce, where you're kind of messed up because you're going to pay for a 2 pound rate. So be really careful about your weights. Make sure you get them accurate. We don't want to, overcharge the buyer, but you don't want to lose $1 or $2 on your sales too often, or that will really cut into your profits. All right, next up, we have another media buy. This is the Bee Gees. So I did something a little different. I hadn't tried this before. I put together a lot. They had 2 DVDs and a CD. So we have the Bee Gees in Our Own Time. That's the DVD. This one is used. And we have the Bee Gees One Night Only, also used. And then finally, Barry Gibb. Barry Gibb, this is In the Now. So I put that CD of Barry Gibb with the rest of the Bee Gees items here, and I sold these as a lot for $24.87 plus shipping. So again, I've said this and said this, but I'll keep telling you as long as I'm doing videos. It's really good to think about lotting items together that don't have great sale prices individually. If you're trying to keep your ASP up, your average sale price, which I talked about in my previous video, is one of my goals, is to raise my average sale price closer to 50 bucks. I've been somewhere in the range of 30 to 35. So when trying to get that to 50, it's important for me to avoid like that sale a minute ago that I showed you that was $5 like the Duluth. But that stuff, again, I'm trying to get out of the house, trying to move. But even the great courses, I took that $5 offer. I probably should have stuck that one in with one of my lots. It just didn't really match up real well with some of the others that I had. And I was trying to group them kind of by subject and title. So that one wound up being an outlier. But those types of sales, while I still will make money on it, they do hurt my average sale price. And so I don't want to spend time listing items like that take away from my profitability as a reseller. Because every time I list an item that sells for $5 and I take the time to do that, I could have listed something in its place that would have sold for $25, $30, $40, $50, $60 or more in that same amount of time. So I'm really costing myself money by listing items like that. All right, next item up. This is a new and sealed CD by Asia. This is Asia Phoenix. If you can see that maybe. It's a really nice CD, fabulous condition. The seal is really sharp on this. This was sold for $29.99 plus shipping. And that was a promoted listing. I had added promotions to some of the CDs and stuff that I've had listed for a while, just like I did with some of my clothing. And so maybe that helped it. I don't know. I figure it's one of those things. Probably the person looking for that typed in the exact title. So I don't know that I really saved a lot, or sped up the sale a lot. But at the end of the day, I got it sold, and if promoted helped, it helps, right? Still not sure how I feel about it. I'm back and forth on it. I know it's a great tool. I'm glad that they offer us that, but sometimes also it feels like, and I've told you this before, it feels like it's kind of like robbery. It's like we're already paying to use the site. I'm already paying for a store subscription. They're already getting a good percentage, 12, 14, 15% of every sale that I make. They're already getting all this money, that it comes in. And so then to charge us in order to get preferential treatment in positioning, I get it, because the higher yours is on the search list, the more likely you are to sell it. So I get the advantage it gives us, but I really feel like those things ought to be, through the algorithm, they should be worked out where it's a more fair process that gives everyone kind of a turn at the top, where it just gets reordered, over time. When they come up for relisting automatically and it hasn't sold, that should be enough to give you that bump for a while without you having to do a lot of extra work. But, that's such is the way of life, right? You have to work hard, and if you want to sell well. So we do what we have to and use the tools available to us. Next up, I have the Beatles #1's deluxe CD and 2 Blu-ray disc box set. So this is really cool. It's got a thick book inside. This is sealed. This is an awesome set, but it's not as uncommon as I hoped it would be, even though it is sealed. I still got 30 bucks plus shipping for this, so a pretty good deal. I think I had this for $39.99. I got an offer for 30 and I took it. So that one sold. Next up, I have the Yardbirds. So this is a set of Yardbirds, and I did something interesting with this one. I had a buyer that's bought from me several times. He's bought quite a bit from me, media-wise. And he saw this set of Yardbirds, and there was one DVD in it that he just wasn't interested in. He said he didn't need it. He already had a copy of it. And so he asked me if I would substitute one of my single DVDs that I had listed, which was this one, Spirit in Concert, for one of the Yardbirds. And so it was the Yardbirds that has the blue title. So I've got Yardbirds. This is Yardbirds For Your Love. I have Yardbirds Performances. And I have Yardbirds Making Tracks. This is On Tour 2010 to 2012. And like I said, he wanted this Spirit in Concert in place of the Yardbirds blue disc that you would see if you looked at my sold listing. And so he was already buying another item from me and had offered to buy something else as well that he was looking at. And I told him I'd be glad to do that for him. I'll just list the Yardbird that I took out with a group to sell in a lot, or I may look and see what its price is individual. But I still was able to sell this lot of 4 for $29.87, and I thought, you know, that's a pretty good deal. The Spirit in Concert DVD had a comparable value to each of the Yardbirds that I had listed. So it worked out good for me. I got that extra sale, very little work. I just ended the listing on the Spirit in Concert, and I told him I would switch out that title for the one he didn't want in the Yardbirds, and then I'll go back and I will list, like I said, the title that I took out, or add it to a lot later. All right, next up I have same buyer came in and bought this set of Motown DVDs. So I thought this is a really cool set. Again, you have to be creative in how you group things together and what you do with them. I had these listed, I think, at $34.99. I took an offer of $30, but this included the Temptations Definitive Performances from 65 to 72. Everybody's got to like the Temptations, right? I mean, probably not. I know everybody's got their preferences on music, but look, I love music across the board. There are some genres and styles that I'm not as partial to, but I'm pretty open for the most part. I just love good music. I love good singing, and I love oldies. So I really like a lot of the Motown and oldie stuff, classic rock, things like that. So the Drifters, Greatest Hits Live, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, 63 to 1987. Then we have Standing in the Shadows of Motown. This is more of a documentary. We have Earth, Wind, and Fire. This is live in Japan. We have the Four Tops, pretty awesome, and Otis Redding. And I love Otis Redding. That Motown lot sold again for $30 plus shipping. $30 plus shipping. I've been listing a lot of media lately. Some of you probably still thinking, when am I going to get to the records? But if you've paid attention, I think in one of my previous videos, I'm pretty sure I said this. Look, I know I haven't put many videos out recently, and so I started to film several times, and there may have been some things I said and never edited or finished. But if I didn't get this out, I'll remind you, my plan is, and I know it's past the first of the year now, I had gotten my cleaner, my spin clean machine, and so I'm going to start going through, it's a manual machine for cleaning the records. I'm going to start going through pretty soon this month, and I'm going to clean a certain number each night, 8 or 10 a night, whatever, have space to lay out and let them dry. And I'm going to clean them up before I start listing them. I'm going to kind of cherry pick some of my best ones, start getting those listed for getting my money back, you know, as quickly as possible. And so I'll keep you posted as I go through that and kind of how that works and how they sell. And we'll try to keep track when I start putting those online on eBay of how much money I'm making and see how long it takes me to get into the profit on that big buy. Of course, remember I spent, what was it, $2,500 I think on that set. So it's a big purchase. All right, next one up. I have this Mama Says Demdeco. So in my last video, I had one of these that went out. I hadn't sold any of these in a while. And then I've got 2 that sold recently. So this one, I took an offer of $30. This is a small one, but anyway, $30 plus shipping. That'll be going out today. So next up after that, this is a huge lot of books. I'm not going to do all of these. This is, it's a lot of 20. And this is 11 through 30 of the House of Winslow series by Gilbert Morris. If you're not familiar with him, join the club. I wasn't either until I bought all those books. I wish I would have made a video on that, but I went to an estate sale and they had just tons of books, just, you know, fiction, and some nonfiction stuff, but mostly fiction. And it was a lot of sets and series, or pieces of sets and series, and they were mostly Christian literature and kind of like love stories, like Christian love stories. I don't even know how to explain those. Christian romance, I guess. But, you know, all really new looking and great shape. And some of the titles like these I found were pretty good. And so I didn't have time. I had my mom with me in the truck. And so I can't leave Mama there a long time while I pick through, you know, an entire collection like that. Because we're talking about, you know, hundreds and hundreds of books. And so anyway, I talked to the people running it. It was some people that I knew locally here. And I asked if, you know, because it's the last day of the sale, I asked them what they wanted, or, you know, what kind of time frame they were going to be there and that kind of thing. And they wound up, they made me an offer. They said, well, why don't you just take all of them? And I said, well, you know, what would you have to have for all of them? Because they had a price like per book that was very reasonable. I think it was like 50 cents a paperback or something like that. But then they said, well, what about $100? You just take them all and we'll box them up. You can come back and get them. I said, well, okay, I'll do it. And so I brought all these books in that I had to comp. Man, it was just tons and tons of books. The bed of my truck was full. The back of my truck was full. And it's wound up being a really good buy for me. I'm well into the profit. And again, if you're not familiar with Gilbert Morris, his books do pretty well. None of them are like hugely valuable, like a single book going to be like tons and tons of money, you know, unless you get like something really special, something signed or something like that. Y'all know how books go. But as a collection, these books in great condition, right? This is just a few of them. And then I had this part 11 through 15 were in its own box collection, still in great shape. Most of these look like they were never read. There's no creasing on the spines at all. They're just like brand new. So anyway, I was able to sell these for 40 bucks plus shipping. I rambled on too long about it, but that wound up being, like I said, a really good sale. I've lotted most of these up in sets that I can get at a minimum usually $10 to $15 for, and then upwards of $30, $40. Most of them fell in the $20 range for, you know, 6 to 8 books or something like that. I did some sets of like 12 to 14 for like $20 to $30. And so I've sold probably over half of these already. I've made, you know, a couple $100 of profit, and I still got a lot of books to sell that are listed. So they're still steadily selling as the weeks go by. So I'm good with that. I think that was a pretty good deal for me. It's helped me out since it's been hard sourcing with Mama with me full time. And it's gave me an opportunity to have plenty of inventory and, you know, keep some money coming in, you know, even though I'm not able to go and necessarily score really high dollar items as often as I would like. So next up, I do have a really good sale, and this was also out of that DVD buy. This one was really, really good. So again, anytime you find things that are out of print, you can do really well. And that's what this is. This is Paul McCartney and Wings Rock Show. And this is the ones that they're kind of like a book, you know. So, you know, well, I guess you could say it is a book, right? So you go inside, and it's got, you know, the book pages, and it's got so all the details and information. And the DVD is tucked in to the side right here, okay? So the DVD's in excellent condition. All this stuff is like new. It come from that same giant collection that I originally bought all of the CDs from back a year or longer ago. I bought from that guy now, I think 3 or 4 times. And so it just keeps paying off. Keep going back to that same well. He's been great to me. I've tried to be good to him, and gave good prices. I left me room for profit, and I feel like, you know, for what he's wanted to do, he's come out well at the same time. And that's what you want. You know, you want, when you're buying from someone, especially in bulk, you know, you want to leave with good profit, but you also want them to feel good about the price that they're getting and feel good about what they're making off of it. You know, not everybody wants to go through, you know, hundreds and hundreds of items like this. Because, I mean, you know, I had to scan so many items that were $3. Lots of $3 items that I put in groups, you know, of 6, 8, and 10 to get like $25 for them. But you got to go through and do all of that research just to find the ones that are great like this. This sold for $54.97 plus shipping. So there's some gems in there. There's generally always going to be, you know, you kind of have that gut feeling based on what the collection consists of, what you're going to come away with as far as having some good ones in there. But you can't predict which ones are going to be great and which ones aren't. I would have thought some of that other seal stuff would have been $30 or $40, but it just wasn't. It's just too common. And so I've been selling through it. I feel good about where I'm going profit-wise. I'm going to make a really good profit. And like I said, I feel like for the amount of work I'm putting in, it's a fair profit. I don't feel bad about what I paid, and I don't think he'll feel bad about what I make. So that's the way you want it to be. All right, last item is not my biggest item, but it's still pretty cool. This is a Harley Davidson women's snap-up shirt. This sold international is why it's kind of down on the list. And this sold for $27.99 plus shipping. So, you know, shipping all included, it's going to be pretty high for that buyer to get it to where they are. Probably, you know, in the $60 range because it's going overseas. I don't remember exactly where that was landing. I guess I could look it up, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. So I may throw it up on the screen here, or you may see it whenever I do the thumbnail. I may add it in the text. So that's all the sales. Again, this was 15 sales for about $541.63. I think that's a pretty good, you know, little set of sales. If you notice, I'm somewhere probably around what, $35 to $38, less than 40 anyway per sale. That's pretty good. I will say this: I would love for that number to be higher, But considering I didn't have any real bangers in this, like I didn't have any like huge, like anything over $100. I didn't really have anything close to $100. What, 54 was my best sell. So it was a consistent pricing, and I think that's good too. I had a few that were kind of low. I had 2 or 3 that were a little bit on the higher side of this group, but for the most part, they all were in that wheelhouse, 20 to 30 bucks. And if I can keep my low sales there, I think over time find more, bangers to sell. I need more bigger sales to get that average sale price up to like 50. But if I can do that, work more of those in and have some of those sprinkled in along with eliminating some of those bottom end sales, then I think I could really do well, because if you think about this, I can subtract 40 bucks off of this, about 40 bucks, and I would have 11 sales for $500, and that's a much closer, 11 for 500 is what, $44 or so per sale. So I'm closer to that 50. That's what I was trying to say, is if you want that ASP to be higher, one of the goals or one of the tricks is to just try to avoid those low dollar purchases. They may have good profit on them, but when you're spending your time is valuable. And when you're spending that listing items that are just, $5, $6, $7, $10, $12, it's hard to list enough of those in a short enough amount of time to really make it come out to good profit for you to put in your pocket. And so if I eliminate those, I begin to see a much higher return on my time that I put into my business. And that's what I think I need to really work on, as I said in the last video. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. That's all I got for you today. So be watching for the next video drop. And as always, I love you. God loves you even more than I do. And guys, whatever you do, don't you ever, ever give up. And I will see you on the next one. Take care.